Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning and welcome. My name is Mark Witherspoon, and I serve on your fellowship board of directors. I want to thank you all for being here today and extend a special welcome to any visitors. If you would like more information about the fellowship, please visit the welcome table in the fireside room or sign our virtual guest book at uufames.org/guestbook. Whether joining us from home or here in Fellowship Hall, we invite you to stay after the service for coffee fellowship, where you can introduce yourself and join in conversation with kindred spirits. We have some announcements today. If you haven't already, please mark your calendars and plan to join us for a congregational workshop with the UUA titled Breaking Barriers, Building Beliefs. This two-session Zoom-based workshop will help us understand our unconscious biases so we can get the best ministerial candidate we can. The workshop will be Friday evening, December 1st, and Saturday morning, December 2nd. Question and answer sessions on next year's budget will be held on Wednesday, November 29th at 6:30 p.m. and Sunday, December 3rd, immediately after the service. The budget will go out in about a week, and these sessions are your opportunity to have those burning questions answered. Plan to participate in the process. Please also plan to join us on Sunday, December 10th, for our annual meeting. We'll have a shortened service at 10, a festive coffee fellowship hosted by the Generosity team, and the meeting at 11-ish. This is our annual gathering to elect leaders, approve next year's budget, and approve next year's offertory recipients. The fellowship will have a winter solstice celebration at the Crawford in Campustown, hosted by Bob Anders on the evening of December 22nd. All are welcome. We will have a bonfire, potluck, and more. If you're interested, contact Bob with your ideas. And if you've been to a winter solstice celebration before, you'll know how much fun it is. I've been to several. Now, the leaves. You've got leaves. Yeah, what we want you to do is write on the leaves someone in the congregation that you are grateful for, or somebody else that you're grateful for. And then we bring them up?
At the time of communion.
At the time of communion, okay. All right. So on behalf of this caring, nurturing congregation, I welcome each and every one of you to this sacred space. Here we invite you into the experience of transformation, hope, renewal, and connections, which may inspire you to understand life in new ways. Thank you for joining us today.
Our opening words this morning are from Francis David, founder of the Unitarian Church in Transylvania in the 1500s, and this is a responsive reading. In this world, there have always been many opinions about faith and salvation.
You need not think alike to love alike.
There must be knowledge in faith also.
Sanctified reason is the lantern of faith.
Religious reform can never be all at once, but gradually, step by step.
If they offer something better, I will gladly learn.
The most important spiritual function is conscience, the source of all spiritual joy and happiness.
Conscience will not be quieted by anything less than truth and justice.
We must accept God's truth in this lifetime. Salvation must be accomplished here on earth.
God is indivisible.
Ej az Isten. And our chalice lighting is from Reverend Mark Bellatini. The earth, one planet, round, global, so that when you trace its shape with your finger, you end up where you started. All the dotted lines we draw on our maps of this globe are just that, dotted lines. They smear easily. Oceans can be crossed, mountains can be crossed, even the deserts can be crossed. There is only one earth that we all share, we the living, with all else that lives and does not live. Everything for good or ill is part of this shared whole. Sky, earth, song, words, and now our gathering. We light this chalice in thanksgiving for everything. Will you rise now in body or spirit for our opening song, number 322, Thanks Be for These.
Our time for all ages today is called The Meaning of Thanksgiving by Fanny Wilder Brown. But I don't like roast goose, Guy said, pouting. I'd rather have turkey. Turkey is best for Thanksgiving anyway. Goose is for Christmas. Guy's mother did not answer. He watched her while she carefully wrote GTW on the corner of a pretty new red bordered handkerchief. 5 others, all alike, and all marked alike, lay beside it. The initials were his own. Why don't you buy some blue ones? I'd rather have them different, he said. Mrs. Wright smiled a queer little smile, but did not answer. She lighted a large lamp and held the marked corner of one of the handkerchiefs against the hot chimney. The heat made the indelible ink turn dark. Although the writing had been so faint, Guy could hardly see it before. Oh dear, he cried, there's a little blot at the top of that T. I don't want to carry a handkerchief that has a blot on it. Very well, said his mother. I'll put them away, and you may carry your old ones until you ask me to let you carry this one. I don't care to furnish new things for a boy who doesn't appreciate them. I don't like old. That'll do, Guy. Never mind the rest of the things that you don't like. I want you to take this $1 down to Mrs. Burns. Tell her that I shall have a day's work for her on Friday, and I thought she might like to have part of the pay in advance to help make Thanksgiving with. Please go now. But $1 won't help much. She won't like that. She always acts just as if she was as happy as anybody. I don't want to go there on such an errand as that. Mrs. Wright smiled again, but her tone was very grave. Mrs. Burns is just as happy as anybody, Guy, and she has the best behaved children in the neighborhood. The little ones almost never cry. I have never seen the older ones quarrel. But there are 8 children, and Mr. Burns has only 1 arm, so he can't earn much money. Mrs. Burns has to turn her hand to all sorts of things to keep the children clothed and fed. She'll be thankful to get the $1, you see if she isn't. And tell her if she is making mince pies this year, I'll take 3. Guy walked very slowly down the street until he came to the little house where the Burns family lived. I'd hate to live here, he thought. I don't see where they all sleep. My room isn't big enough, but I don't believe there's a room in this house as big as mine. I shouldn't have a bit of fun ever if I lived here, and I'd hate to have my mother make pies and send me about to sell them. Then he knocked on the front door, for there was no bell, but no one came. He could hear people talking in the distance, so he knew some of the family were at home. Someone was always at home here to look after the little children. He walked around to the kitchen door. It stood open. The children were talking so fast they did not hear his knock. They were very busy. Katie, the 11-year-old, and Malcolm, 10, Guy's age, were cutting citron into long, thin strips, piling it on a big blue plate. Mary and James, the 8-year-old twins, were paring apples with a paring machine. The long, curling skins fell in a large stone jar standing on a clean paper spread on the floor. Charlie, who was only 4, was watching to see that none of the parings fell over the edge of the jar. Susan, who was 7, was putting raisins, a few at a time, into a meat chopper screwed down on the kitchen table. George, 3 years old, was turning the handle of the chopper to grind the raisins. Baby Joe was creeping about the kitchen floor after a kitten. Mrs. Burns was taking a great piece of meat from a steaming kettle on the back of the stove. Everyone was working except the baby and the kitten, but all seemed to be having a glorious time. What they were saying seemed so funny, it was some time before Guy could understand it. At least he was sure it was some kind of game. Mice, asked Susan. Mary squealed and they all laughed. Because they're small, said Mary. Snakes? They can't climb trees, Mrs. Burns called out from the pantry. The children fairly roared at that. A pantry with no window in it. Oh, we've had that before, Katie answered. I know what you say. It's a good place to ripen pears in when Mrs. Wright gives us some. Guy knocked very loudly at that. He had not noticed he was listening. The children started but did not leave their work. They looked at their mother. Jamie, she said. Then Jamie came to meet Guy and invited him to walk in. What game is it? Asked Guy, forgetting his errand. We're making mince pies, said Jamie. It's lots of fun. Don't you want to play? I'll let you turn the paring machine if you like that best. Guy said thank you and began to turn the parer eagerly. But I don't mean what you are doing, said Guy. I knew that was mince pies. I thought that was work. I mean, what were you saying? It sounds so funny. I never heard it before. Mama made it up, explained Malcolm. It's great fun. We always play it at Thanksgiving time. You think of something that people don't like, and the one who can think first tells what he is thankful for about it. We call it Thanksgiving. Well, wouldn't you know it, Guy stayed for an hour and played both games. Then, quite to his surprise, the 12 o'clock whistles blew, and he had to go home. But he remembered his errands and did them, to the great pleasure of the whole Burns family. In the afternoon, Guy spent some time writing a note to his mother. It was badly written, but it made his mother happy. It read, "Dear Mother, I am thankful the blot isn't any bigger. I am thankful for the handkerchiefs. The handkerchiefs isn't black on the borders. I would like that one with the blot on to put in my pocket when you read this, but my old ones are nice. The Burnses don't have things to be thankful for, but they are thankful just the same. I'm thankful for the goose we're going to have. The best is, I am thankful I'm not a goose myself. For if I was, I wouldn't know enough to be thankful. I think I truly learned the meaning of Thanksgiving. Respectfully yours, Guy Theodore Wright." And so ends our story. Just a reminder, today is an all-ages service, so we'll all be worshiping together. There's no staff in the nursery, however, the doors are unlocked if anyone needs to find some space for a moment.
Yo Regelt. Say it. You can say it. Yo Regelt. You speak Hungarian. That's wonderful. Our Transylvania connection. That's what we here at the UUFA call our relationship with the tiny village. Whoops. Oh. Huh? Where did one? Huh? Oh, okay, sorry. That's what we call our connection with the tiny village in the town of Tordat-Falva in Romania. And this is Edith, and she is the chair of the board and also the building custodian. Unitarianism has a connection with Transylvania dating from the 1500s, when it was a major faith as a result of the Reformation. King John Sigismund declared freedom of religion in Transylvania in 1568 with the Edict of Torda. And many villages and towns renamed their Catholic churches or built new churches. Actually, what do you call it when you consecrate? Okay, they changed from their Catholic church to a Unitarian church. And Tordat-Falva, our partner church, has just celebrated the 200th anniversary of its becoming Unitarian. It was actually built in the 1300s and was a Catholic church. This is Lajos Lorenzi, the minister in the church. He is also the district minister, so he is very busy. He's always wearing out cars. And we have helped him purchase 2 used cars. We haven't heard recently, so he's still using the last one that we that we helped fund. This is Lajos and Tunda, his wife. They just celebrated their 22nd wedding anniversary. And they support 2 congregations, Tordat-Falva and Csehet-Falva, which is a short wagon ride down the road. This is the interior of our partner church. You can see it's quite different from what we have. The women sit on one part and the men sit on the other side. And they have the high podium for the high pulpit for the minister. And you see the banner with the doves underneath the organ balcony. Ginny Huntington, is she here today? I don't think she was going. Oh, Ginny, yay. Ginny made the banner, and we brought it with us in 2004 when we first went over there. Okay, recognize the Kopiafa on the wall? This is the young man who carved it. His name is Balaj Antal, and he's 83. And they made it specially for us. And Reverend Kent was able to go over in 2018 for the celebration of the 450th anniversary of the Edict of Torda. And he brought this back with him. I thought, how in the world did he get it into his suitcase? It was made in 3 parts. So it comes apart. And Bradley got it attached to our wall. And it's kind of like a totem pole. You normally see them in cemeteries, and the symbols tell about the person who's buried. But the sign on the side of the wall there tells us what symbols are in this Kopiafa. This is the beautiful countryside, and our fellowship has taken 3 pilgrimages over there. 2004, 2007, 2011. It's time for another one. The Witherspoon family visited on their own because they were going to be in Europe. What year was that? 2010. 2010. And Reverend Kent went over in 2018 for the 450th anniversary of the Edict of Torda.
And Linda went in 20.
Oh yeah, I forgot Linda Barnes she got, in seminary, she got some scholarships to go over there. You're right, yeah. This is a building that Loyosh remodeled. It was an old rundown building in the yard of the Chehet Falva Church. And he and many others remodeled it with some financial help from us. And it's used for a Meals on Wheels program, conferences, and youth activities. We have donated, money to the village, but I don't know how many of you know that when we had a flood in, 2010 or something like that, this little village sent us $500 to help with our expenses. So this is just a sample of a church dinner or a group dinner that they're having in this beautiful building. I'm anxious to go over and see it and help it with the Meals on Wheels or something like that. And this is some children gathering. You can just hear the music that our trio played today for their dancing. So visiting Tordat Falva is a life-changing opportunity for those of us who have been there and for those of you who I hope will go. It is time to take another trip over. So I am challenging you, it's your homework, adults, families, and youth, to join me on our soon-to-be planned pilgrimage.
Thank you, Kitty. Will you join me now in a time of prayer and meditation? And our prayer today is from Reverend Mark Bellatini. O you who may not even be a you, I often find it hard to pray. I suppose part of it is that I really don't imagine that you are some sort of Santa Claus in the sky. And frankly, I hate to ask for things anyway. I've always been independent. I'd rather you just pour yourself into my life and ailing body without me having to ask for it. I'd like to be free to move again, to toss the limitations. I'd like to be able to walk again easily and walk without strain. The most vivid part of me wants my health, my capacity for self-care. I'd like to sit with my head held high in the fresh air of morning. I'd like to have long talks about life and love. Long talks where I say everything I have ever wanted to say. But I just don't know for sure how this prayer might work to help me in that regard, or even if it works in any ordinary meaning of the word. I've had enough disappointments in my life to want to face any more. So you'll understand if I'm a bit hesitant around prayer. But I guess it's worth the price of admission just to be able to say clearly what I want. So with that, I'll sign off for now and get on with the day ahead of me. May it be so, and amen. Good morning, Central Iowa and beyond. My name is Reverend A.J. Galazan. I'm your interim minister. My pronouns are he and his. And I welcome everyone joining us here today, both in person and on Zoom, wherever you are on your spiritual, ethical, or questioning journey. You are welcome here. Today is the third Sunday of the month, and that means it's Newcomer Sunday. I will meet immediately after the service over there by the tree with anyone who considers themselves a newbie. So if you're here today for the first, second, third, or fourth time, please join me for an informal welcome. But every Sunday should be Friendly Sunday. If you notice someone you don't know, please say hello. Here is the greeting I just received from Reverend Loyosh, minister at our partner church in Transylvania. Dear sisters and brothers, dear friends, we celebrated our Thanksgiving on the last Sunday of September, and we had the opportunity to share AJ's message and blessings. Listening to the very kind words coming from you, we give thanks for our partnership and friendship. We remembered all your visits, messages, financial support, blessings, prayers that gave us hope, strengthened us, and helped us through these very hard times. Dear friends, Thanksgiving is a wonderful and very meaningful time for us. Gratitude is one of the most important divine gifts and human virtues. I always say to my community that life is how we would like it to be seen. If we see it with gratitude, it will be easier and happier. We have not forgotten how you rushed in to help us many times over the years, and how important your support was when we didn't have any income during the pandemic. Today, I give thanks for you all. I give thanks for the years we have been connected in faith and love. I give thanks that in these hard times, there is a common faith and hope. I give thanks to God, the Spirit of life, who created us and brought us into it and made each and every one of us very important in creation. When we share our Thanksgiving communion of bread and wine, we have the feeling that you are together with us in love and spirit. Today, please feel we are also with you. Our love caresses your faces and your hearts. Our faith is connected with your faith, and our gratitude is present in your prayers. We hope you will find a way to come and visit us. You are welcome anytime. Have a blessed Thanksgiving. Love from Tordot Falva. And now a passage from Reverend Mark Bellatini's Sonata for Voice and Silence. Although Ralph Waldo Emerson famously said that he liked the silent church before the service better than any preaching, my experience is that most congregations are known more for their words and music than the quality of their quiet. Yet sounds are actually rare in the vast cosmos which holds our lives. Silence surrounds the farthest star and the nearest. Our planet itself is swathed in silence, except that within the thin skin of air. Moonlight makes no sound. Sunlight falls through the air quietly. The night side of the earth is largely silent. Silence bathes what happened before us and what shall follow us. Thus, a time of silence within an ordered span of worship may serve as a communal emblem, which reminds us that we are part of a vast silent reality, part of each other's lives, and at one with the silent flow of past into the future. Close quote. There is an irony here. Emerson loved the silence before the preaching, yet he was known personally to speak for hours. And, quote, people loved to hear him speak even when they had very little idea of what he was talking about. A passage from Polly Peterson's book, Stirring the Nation's Heart, quote, in 1829, at the age of 26, Ralph Waldo Emerson became minister of the Second Church in Boston. It was a plum position for a young minister, and he was well liked by his congregation. Why then, less than 4 years later, did he resign his pulpit? He no longer wished to observe the sacrament of communion with bread and wine. Emerson carefully laid out his reasons, hoping he might persuade his congregation to give up the practice. But as much as they loved their pastor and wished him to stay, they would not agree to abandon this important ritual of the Christian faith. Close quote. So I ask you, what do you want more? Good preaching or connection with tradition and the ancestors. I like a happy medium. Most Unitarian Universalists have moved far away from the formal sacrament of communion, and some of our practices have been lost to history. Don't feel bad if you have queasy feelings about communion. Many people have questioned it. George Washington was an Anglican, but refused to take communion. He would leave the church right before the communion. Today, we will offer cornbread and apple juice to each other as a symbol of generosity, gratitude, and community. Our communion liturgy today is from our new religious educator, Dana Poss. She brought it with her from Pennsylvania. This is not a required ritual of our faith. Please feel free to opt out if you wish. But please feel free and welcome to join in with no expectations, even if you are skeptical. Our Unitarian brothers and sisters in Transylvania emerged independently from our history and have only in the last few decades connected with our UUA tradition. Unitarians in Transylvania celebrate communion annually with bread and wine at the time of the harvest. And to prepare for the sacrament in many congregations, the communion is preceded by a time of confession. Not the private Catholic kind where your sins are forgiven, but a circle of communal confession, a public admission of missing the mark, as mentioned in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5. Quote, "So when you are offering your gift at the altar, if you remember that your brother or sister has something against you, leave your gift there and go. First be reconciled to your brother or sister, and then come and offer your gift." Close quote. So before we approach this communion table, let us take time to look within ourselves. Are we content with what we find? Or have we left some important business undone? Let's take a moment now to consider how we have hurt each other or fallen short in our thoughts, words, and deeds. Today we seek reconciliation with our friends and the people that may at times be difficult to deal with. We realize that no covenant, no promise will last forever, but repentance and repair are always possible. I close today with a fable from Reverend Gretchen Haley. The story goes that once there was a wise woman traveling all through the mountains. One day she found a precious stone in a stream. She was so happy and grateful. It could change her life. The next day she met a man traveling just like her through the mountains. He was hungry, and she was happy to share her food. But as she opened her bag, the man saw the stone, and he knew this stone he would be able to eat all his favorite foods His mouth watered, imagining all the incredible flavors, all the ways his life would be filled with so much goodness. Instead of the food, he asked, "Can I have that stone?" The woman looked at him, "Of course." And just like that, it was his. The man was so happy, he ran quickly away, afraid she would change her mind. A few days later, however, the man appeared again, carrying the stone in his hands. "Take it back," he said. "Instead, I hope you can give me something even more precious than this precious stone. I hope you can give me whatever it is within you that made it so easy for you when I asked to just give it away." In this place, for this hour, we are all trying to learn how it is when we are asked to trust, to love, to give of ourselves, to share blessings, that we can say an easy and great yes. And also we are here to remember we all carry with us a precious stone that is a great blessing. This gift that is just ours. This gift that we long to offer the world, that in our giving will bless us all the more. Close quote. May it be so, and amen.
Good morning. I'm Jan, and I serve on the Sunday Services Committee. Our November, we'll now give and receive the offering. Please know that this morning, half of the non-pledge offering will be donated to the Ames Pet Food Pantry, also known as Bailing Out Benji. Our K-8 religious education students selected this recipient to help families in need be able to keep their pets responsibly and with dignity. The pantry provides roughly 1,500 pounds of food each month. The other half of the offering will support programs here in our fellowship that make this a community of inspiration and transformation. We'll pass the basket here in Fellowship Hall, but for those at home, you can visit uufames.org/give to make your contribution today. If you are visiting today, please know that your presence is gift enough. Thank you.
When you wake each morning, open your heart to the blessings in your life. List them in your mind. What are they? Did you wake up to a puppy or a kitty or a kid staring you down, wondering when you're going to take care of breakfast? Think about the gifts they bring you.
Is it the weather? Is it your idea of beautiful outside, whatever that may be? Is it someone you're going to see later in the day? Someone who inspires you or whose company you really enjoy?
Are you going to spend the day in a place that you love, or at the very least, a place that pays your bills? By cultivating this practice over time, you may discover what has been proven, that living with intention, focusing on gratitude and wonder, allows you to live longer, inspire others, experience joy, hold pain and grief with compassion, generosity and respect for all life. Living gratefully carries a power that is nourishing and transformative.
As we spend time together in this community today, and as we take our cider and cornbread communion, let us do so in a spirit of gratitude for one another's gifts. The tradition of breaking bread together is as old as humanity itself and is woven into our human story. One of the ways we become human, according to scientists, is through cooking of food, a community act.
From Qasim Cave near Tel Aviv comes evidence of ancient meals prepared at a 300,000-year-old hearth, the oldest ever found, where diners gathered to eat together.
To break bread together is a phrase as old as the Bible, capturing the power of a meal to forge relationships, bury anger, and provoke laughter. For centuries, food and drink have been taken symbolically by many faith traditions.
You should have received a paper leaf when you came in this morning. Please think about someone here in our fellowship or in your life that you're grateful for. And write down their name, any comments you may have, and place that slip of paper in a basket on your way up to receive communion. And if you would like assistance, an usher will come to you. So please line up on both sides of the sanctuary. Drop your gratitude in the basket, and then return to your seats. And we will wait until we are all seated, and then we will eat and drink together. Gluten-free and water are also available as part of this communion. So today we come together at the wheel of the year. It continues to turn, and we move from the bounty of fall into the darkness of winter. We come to reflect, to eat and drink and celebrate with each other all we have been given. It is a time to acknowledge the changing of the seasons, the bounty of the harvest, and the blessings in our lives. Please come forward now. We are thankful for Micah. She's always here for me when I am sad, and she is very cuddly. Mika, she's a cat. I wondered what she was. Thanks for Bradley and all of the musicians. Thanks for Jonah. She is such a wonderful greeter. I am so grateful for the tech crew and all the talented musicians that we are blessed to have. All the people who keep the fellowship functioning. I'm so thankful for Peggy and Craig for their invitation, patience, and masterful musical skills, played louder than the guitar and slower than is written. I am thankful for Bradley, with an exclamation point. I am thankful for you, the person who is reading this. I am thankful for my sisters, my family, and my friends, and for Matt. I'm thankful for the Ministerial Search Committee. I'm thankful for Sue Kearson for her leadership, creativity, and behind-the-scenes work. I'm thankful for Jane and Fred Valier, special friends to eat, to talk, and spend time with. I'm thankful for Grandma Holden. I'm thankful for Grandma and Grandpa, Mom and Dad. I'm thankful for Cindy and Dirk Colton for their generosity and care. I'm thankful for my daughter Joanne. There are so many I'm thankful for. I'm thankful for a blank leaf. I'm thankful for John Vaughn. I'm thankful for Jamie Gillianis. I'm grateful for Ben, a gentleman and an excellent listener. I'm thankful for all of the Thanksgiving that we don't have time to read.
These will be hanging on the tree, so you can come by and read them over the next couple of weeks as you have time.
Okay, everyone has their bread and cider.
Bread is universal. In many cultures, bread is the basis of meals. It was believed to contain the mystery of life and death, and corn and wheat became sacred plants. Today, we eat of it symbolically. As you take your bread, let it remind you of the presence.
Apples also appear in many religions as a symbol of beauty, sweetness, and joy. The hardiness of the fruit represents the strength and growth. As you drink your cider, remember those people you are grateful for and the place you have in your life.
talking into the microphone. Sorry. We're doing the Seke Aldash, the Seke blessing, and we'll do it 4 times. Two of us will do it 3 times, and the musicians. And then the 4th time, please join us on the English, unless you want to try the Hungarian. Where there is faith, there is love. Where there is love, there is peace. Where there is peace, there is blessing. Where there is blessing, there is God. Where there is God, there is no need. Oh, where there is faith, oh, ta-ra-ta, oh, ta-ra-ta, oh, where there is peace, oh, oh, where there is God, oh, there is
I feel like I'm going to cry. Thank you so much. Our closing words are from Colin Bosson. Let us go now in the spirit of love, never knowing when or where we find the divine, yet conscious of the spark within each of us and the unfolding beauty that surrounds us. Let us go in peace. Let us go in love. May our lives be a blessing. Amen. We extinguish this flame, but not the blessings that we bring to each other and to the world.